Hey y'all, come along with me while we make a few. Um, well, you could use them for water feeders or bird feeders. I'm going to use a combination of both. I've got a set of three vintage, well, not even vintage maybe, but they were found at the Goodwill and they are just small dishes. I wanted to use small containers because I want it to be low water reservoirs. Bees like to drink out of small or shallow containers. I'm going to be using this Gorilla Glue. It is made for glass. Putting that out there on the bottom. So basically we're just going to be flipping the small dishes upside down. And we are going to come in with these little pieces that I found at Menards. I do have a picture and the name and the price at the end here. It's basically just a piece of PVC fitting. It is the male fitting, I believe. And we're going to put a dab of glue on the end, and then we are going to center it in each one of these dishes. Now you will see at the end, I did end up breaking one of these, so there is a different dish in the final result, but it's just because I dropped it, not because of glue or anything like that. But we are going to make sure that it is secure on all sides. I'm putting in a little extra dab of glue on each side of this one. This one had kind of a raised knob in the middle, so it's not completely flat, which was why it was a little uneven and I had to add extra glue. But you'll see the other two did have a completely flat bottom, which was way easier to work with. So that might be something you want to consider when you're out thrifting for some little dishes, is to make sure that the bottoms are flat versus concaved or rounded. And we're going to come in and do the same thing with the other two here. This glue says for full set it does need 24 hours. I left it overnight, so probably about 12 hours before I did the next step, and it was perfectly fine. So again, centering it and coming in with a little dab of glue on each side to make sure it is secure. These are going to be outdoors, obviously, with it being a bird feeder and a little bit of water feeder for bumblebees, hopefully. I've got some sea holly, and sea holly is a plant that are attracted to or attractive to bumblebees and honeybees. So I am hoping that this will give them a little resting spot and a little reprieve for some water. So coming in with the last one here, and then we are just going to let these set overnight. That's me showing you concaved pieces, so that again is something to watch for when you're buying these dishes. I think the majority of these were probably around $3 or $4 at the Goodwill, or I think I actually may have got these at Savers. And then like the brackets there, I've got at Menards, and I think they were $1.19. So far we're at like maybe $5 a tray or a dish. Centering it again in the opening there. And now we let that dry overnight. Now we're coming back the next day. Same Gorilla Glue. You'll see I picked up some wooden dowels, and we are going to glue in the wooden dowels here. So just throwing some glue down in there. And setting our wooden dowels down in there to secure them. And again, we will let these set overnight. And we'll do that to all three of them. Now you'll see here, I think this got messed up in the lineup here, but I did have to shave some of the dowel off because the fitting is a 1/2 inch and the dowel was a 1/2 inch, so it was a pretty snug fit. You'll see that knife sitting there. I think that's going to be coming up next here, but I did shave a little bit of the wood off so I'd have room for the glue and the dowel, because otherwise if I just shoved the dowel in, I wouldn't be able to have any glue, and I don't think I would have gotten it as far in as I would have with shaving off a little bit of the wood. So here you see me doing that now. Yes, it just got in there backwards, but they're just 1/2 inch wooden dowels. Those two at Menards, I think they were like $3 maybe. But you see right there, I just set it up next to it, measured how far I needed to trim off the wood or whittle off the wood there, made a little mark. You could do this with any kind of knife. This was just what was readily available in my kitchen. So I just rolled it around there on the mark I made, and you'll see me just taking little chunks off of that there to make sure that I'm going to be able to get that down in that dowel, because they are both the exact same size. They're both 1/2 inch. So in order to get that down in there with a little bit of glue, I had to take a little bit of the wood off to make sure that we could get that secure. You could use a carpet knife or an X-Acto knife or whatever kind of knife you have available. I obviously do my crafting in the kitchen, so a kitchen knife was right there, and it didn't hurt the knife, obviously. So just shaving it down enough to get it to fit into that wood dowel, with me still having the ability to get that glue in there. Perfect. And then you see we glued those in. And there it is, set and in place with the wood dowels. We let that sit overnight. There are all 3 of them. And now we are going to come in and tape them off so that we can paint the bases. I just used blue painter's tape, a couple of grocery bags. I poked a hole in the grocery bag at the center of the bottom and put it over the dowel. Slide it down to cover the piece of glass and wrap the extra along the bottom. And then we are going to come in and tape around each one of these sides to secure the bag in place so that we can get this spray painted. And we are going to come in with just black spray paint so it kind of disappears in the end once the plants grow up around it. You will need to allot multiple days for this. It's not a one-day project. I think I stretched it out over probably 4 days. Not very time consuming, but just needs dry time, obviously, with the glue. All right, and we're gonna do that to all 3 pieces. And there they are, all 3 tied up with the bags and taped up, and we are going to go outside. And I am just using this Rust-Oleum black satin paint, and we are going to cover those little flashings or pieces, and then the sticks we're also going to, or the dowels rather, we're also going to paint black. So these are just going to be sticking in some pots that I have on my patio. You could also stick them in the ground or, anywhere. It doesn't need to be in pots, but that's what I have to plant in here in my area. So we are going to just use them as little decor in our planted pots. And those obviously dried overnight again. And here we are installing them. I'm going to install them in the pot that I have this Green Arrow Weeping Alaskan Cedar. And I'm going to go towards the back with the tallest one. I did trim these. I trimmed 2 of them. I took 12 inches off of one pole and 6 inches off the other dowel, just so that I could have a staggering height. I don't want them all at the same height. So there's our tallest in the back. And we're going to go to the other side with one of them. And then our last one is going to go on the opposite side. And the 2 pots that you see on each side of this is where I have the sea holly. You'll see one has sprouted up and is almost ready to bloom. The other ones have not sprouted up yet. I mean, they're sticking out of the pots there, but they haven't sprouted up their bloom stalks yet. But those are bee magnets. So just getting this done before the little friends start to visit. And the first 2, I'm going to put the water in, and just a little bit of water. We're getting a lot of rain right now, so they'll keep full. And then the bottom one, I'm going to come in and put a little bird seed, so that the little visitors that are birds can have a little something to eat on. And that is my Frenchie Poppy with her little snore there. That's the fitting, the male plug, 1/2 inch. And there is the end result. A little bit of bird feed or seed. A little spot for them to rest and eat it. Top one there is a shallow dish of water, hopefully to attract pollinators. And the second one is also a little glass of or tray of water. Both shallow dishes. And I'm excited to see them get put to use. I hope I get lots of little visitors. I hope this inspires you to take a look around the next time you're thrifting and maybe make yourself a little dish.